Hello, I'm Lucero Tagle, a former Googler who started my own startup called PitchNinjas, a tech and AI-enabled coaching platform that helps people communicate more effectively. I've partnered with Google to design this training due to my 16 years of experience working for their people development team and designing learning programs. In this training, I will cover the characteristics of being a great mentor, including active listening, feedback techniques, and more fundamentals to mentorship. Our agenda for today will be going through why it's important to mentor, what are the benefits of mentoring, qualities of being a good mentor, confidentiality, and a mentor toolkit. So why mentor? The purpose of a mentor is to help you grow as a person and become the best version of yourself. This may involve helping you achieve your personal or career goals, introducing you to new ways of thinking, challenging your limiting assumptions, sharing valuable life lessons, and much more. Mentoring can take the shape of multiple roles. For example, you could be a teacher, a sponsor, an advisor, a role model, and even a coach. You can also be a business mentor, a personal mentor, a startup mentor, or even an academic mentor. And it can also take the shape of one-on-one, group mentoring, reverse, meaning a more junior person mentoring a more senior person, virtual, or one-on-one in person. So why mentor? Well, 97% of people say that mentors are valuable. 89% of those who have been mentored go on to mentor others. 89% of mentors and mentees feel empowered by their mentoring relations. And mentors themselves are 6 times more likely to be promoted. So let's take a look at what are the benefits of being a mentor. The first one is to gain leadership skills. Also, to become a more recognized mentor or advisor. Mentoring also provides an opportunity to develop coaching, listening, and communication skills. Some people go on to mentor to gain new perspectives and to foster networking with others. There is also the feeling of giving back or sharing your knowledge and experience with others. Also, the opportunity to encourage reflection on your own career goals and experience. So what are the qualities of a good mentor? Let's take a look at some of those. Active listening is one of the most important qualities of a good mentor that distinguishes a great mentor from others. Mentors have the huge responsibility of providing deep insights and knowledge sharing with their mentors. To understand the concerns of the mentees, a mentor needs to ask multiple questions and reflect on them in order to provide structured and thorough feedback. True intuitive expertise is learned from prolonged experience with good feedback on mistakes. A quote from Daniel Kahneman. Offering constructive feedback to mentees is one of the major responsibilities of a mentor. By understanding the current strengths and weaknesses of mentees, mentors can guide them in the right direction as per their goals and aspirations. A good mentor can understand the personality of a mentee and adjust his or her style of mentoring so as to offer benefits to the mentee. Constructive feedback helps the mentee build successful skills and behaviors that aid in achieving better results. The third point here is around empathy. Mentors are able to put themselves in the shoes of their mentee. The fourth point here is around knowledge sharing and industry experience. Mentors come from different backgrounds and have spent decades of their lives solving multitudes of business challenges, or finding solutions, or looking out for new opportunities for expansion and growth. Having a common background also helps in establishing the professional relationship and starting the learning process rather quickly. Mentors have decades of experience in the same industry and have dealt with all the highs and lows of business. A good mentor not only helps a mentee improve their skills, but also provides practical solutions to problems. The process of mentoring involves sharing key skills, knowledge, and experience with mentees. In this process, mentors help mentees in inculcating professionalism, dynamism to gauge various market scenarios, or even understanding complex business environments, and really provide them with expertise in utilizing the opportunities that are available for them. For this really to happen, a mentor should be open to sharing his or her knowledge and experience with the mentees. A good mentor outlines the importance of relationship building through his or her demeanor and acts as a role model to mentees. Mentors are meticulous. Mentors usually have faced challenges in the past, and they realize the importance of being detail-oriented. A good mentor encourages his or her mentee to stay abreast of the latest trends and developments in the industry and pushes them to take an interest in activities that develop their business acumen. Mentors are good communicators. Communication is one of the most desirable qualities of a good mentor. It helps in overcoming the initial hurdles in the mentoring process by conveying the expectations of both parties. Mentoring is just about sharing information or advice. It also involves active participation from both mentor and mentee to ask questions, discuss scenarios, lay out strategic plans, understand the current gaps, or plan and achieve the desired results as per the timelines. For this to happen, it is crucial for the mentor to have effective communication skills, to have a one-on-one conversation with the mentee. Effective communication means having the ability to interpret, evaluate, and react to both verbal and nonverbal cues from the mentee. A good mentor with good communication skills is also more approachable and is more likely to deliver the results. By taking into consideration the short-term and long-term goals of the mentee, a mentor can measure the success of the mentee and further offer them a learning path as per their aspirations and desires. Mentors demonstrate respect, a really important point here. And an example of this is not canceling your session last minute, being inclusive of the mentee's needs, and being respectful of time, for example. This point here is very much around you as a mentor thinking about the mentee. So really simply to say, it's not about the mentor, but about the mentee. So leave your ego at the door. So let's take a look at powerful questions. This is all around asking questions that are open and exploratory. It's about being genuinely curious and limiting your closed questions. It's also about remembering to ask one question at a time. So in this slide, you can see examples of open questions, the what and the how. These are expansive. So for example, what is your objective? What does success look like in 6 to 12 months? How would you measure success in this area if you achieved what you want to achieve? Limit your closed questions. These are constricting, and some examples of these are starting questions with a who or a when, for example, and also being very careful about using why. This can sometimes feel judgmental. So what's the importance of active listening? And there's 3 points here that I want to reference. It helps you build trust. Trust is the pillar of relationships, and in particular, of mentoring relationships. If your mentee doesn't trust you, they will be resistant to sharing their problems. It will become difficult for you both to maintain a good relationship. Mindful listening, for example, involves techniques that show you are genuinely interested in the other person. So this is something that you can think about. It also enables you to understand them, and it enables you to be empathetic towards them. When someone feels that they are being listened to, they develop trust in you. So a couple of mindful listening tips that can help you with trust building are staying in the moment. It's easy to get distracted by thoughts or external factors when you're not talking. You think about the disturbing words your colleague said to you, for example, or the next meeting you have to run, or the groceries you need to pick up on the way home. Sometimes you get a phone call that you need to answer, or that person that you need to talk to at work. All these activities can distract you from being completely present in the moment. So take notes and practice being mindful when your mentee is talking. If you find it absolutely difficult to concentrate when your mentee is talking, try repeating their words in your mind. This will help you stay focused and get all the information. Seek clarification. Make sure you understand what your mentee is trying to communicate. Ask specific questions to get clarity and paraphrase what is being said to you. This enables you to reduce misunderstandings, and it also reassures your mentee that you're genuinely attempting to understand them. Empathetic listening is a key part of trust building. So wait till your mentee is finished talking before you ask questions or paraphrase. The second point here is around active listening, which will help you identify issues and find better solutions. If you're not mindful in the conversation with your mentee, you will miss out on a lot of valuable information that could be acquired otherwise. This can result in miscommunication and misunderstanding. You will not be able to precisely identify your mentee's challenges, for example. And as a consequence, the solution you provide will not be very effective. Reflective listening, on the other hand, allows you to understand your mentee completely. What they're trying to say, what are they going through, how they need help, and everything else. And this in turn helps you to come up with a better solution for them. The third point is it helps diffuse conflicts. In a long-term relationship like mentoring, conflicts are sure to occur. You can't always be on the same page as your mentee. While you do not necessarily have to agree with them, it's important to be open to different ideas and perspectives. And the best way to demonstrate that is through reflective listening. When you are an active listener, you listen to whatever is on your mentee's mind. You ask open-ended questions, like, can you give an example of what you said? Or how do you see the solution? You're not in a hurry to express your ideas. You give the mentee a chance to speak out and describe all the facts. This way, you understand your mentee's point of view and minimize conflict. When you are communicating with someone, how often do you listen? Every time the other person talks, right? We spend about 70 to 80% of our day communicating, and 55% of that time is dedicated to listening. The real question is, how often do you actively listen? Studies say we listen only with 25% efficiency. This means most of the time we are either distracted, preoccupied with thoughts, or forgetful. But how do you completely understand somebody when you don't have your undivided attention to the person? You cannot. And mentoring is all about understanding your mentee. That's why active listening is the key to successful mentoring. So what is active listening? Active listening is a technique where you completely concentrate on what is being said and observe nonverbal cues like body language. You listen with all your senses without being judgmental. You show interest in the conversation by maintaining eye contact, nodding, or saying words like yes, okay, or I know, and more. Though the ability to listen varies from person to person, reflective listening, as the American psychologist Dr. Carl Rogers called it, is a skill that can be developed through practice. The purpose of reflective listening is to acquire more information and understand people or situations before responding. Dr. Richard Farson, a student of Dr. Rogers, renamed it active listening, which was first introduced to the world by Dr. Thomas Gordon. Rogers and Farson described this kind of listening as an important way to bring about changes in people. So in this slide, you're seeing the top 10 active listening techniques. There are things like eye contact, smiling, demonstrating empathy, showing interest, asking for clarification, paraphrasing to show understanding, expressing verbal acknowledgement, asking open-ended questions, summarizing, and disclosing similar experiences. Think about a recent problem. Instead of saying, I have some feedback for you, which makes some people feel on guard, say, I want to share a perspective with you and explore some thoughts. Yes, this simple shift creates more openness and allows for more curiosity. Approaching feedback as sharing perspectives also creates space where, as a feedback giver, I might not be right and I'm open to learning. This invites dialogue, seeking to understand, sharing different perspectives, listening, and learning. And this dialogue creates psychological safety, especially if the feedback is in service of the other person's growth. Because approaching it with openness and curiosity means I'm open to learning and shifting my viewpoint too. Some of the best mentors are the harshest critics, so don't be afraid to offer some constructive criticism, followed by advice on how to improve. Keep feedback specific and neutral. Critique an action or a behavior, not their personality, and also make it a two-way conversation. Equally, be open to sharing your own mistakes and failures. This will enable you to build trust with your mentee quicker, and it will strengthen the relationship overall. Admitting faults will make you more human and approachable, and is likely to also encourage mentees to be more open about their own mistakes with you. So here you're seeing some example questions. For example, what went right? What could have been done better? What could you do differently? What assumptions are you making here? Or what are some alternative viewpoints? Confidentiality. Very important. Respecting the mentee's confidentiality is one of the most common mentoring expectations. A mentor must be trustworthy. Maintaining the mentee's confidentiality is the most common expectations that a mentee has from a mentor. If the mentee cannot trust the mentor, he or she will never be vulnerable, and the whole purpose of mentoring will be defeated. Whatever the mentee shares is expected to be kept between the two of you. The mentor will not discuss any of the mentee's problems or concerns with anyone else in the organization, be it a manager, be it the program manager, a higher authority, or even a colleague. So let's take you through a mentor toolkit. First off, let's walk through 5 useful tips for a first-time mentor. Is this your first time as a mentor, or perhaps you're a seasoned or experienced one? Seasoned or not, these tips are going to help you develop yourself as a mentor and make the process an effective one. So first off, setting clear expectations. The first step towards a successful mentoring relationship is to set clear expectations. It must be agreed upon by both the mentor and mentee before the mentoring relationship starts. When expectations of the relationship are clear, it leads to a greater chance of success and reduced confusion. The expectations of the relationship can be drafted in a mentoring agreement and handled by the mentoring program manager, mentor, or mentee. The second point is know yourself. As a first-time mentor, being one might feel like an added responsibility on your shoulders. But as a mentor, you should be self-aware and cognizant of yourself. You should be able to identify your strengths, knowledge, experience, weaknesses, gaps, and blind spots. Not only this, you should understand your mentoring style as well. It will help you understand how you can help your mentees better. It becomes easy for you to align yourself with your mentees' needs. So some things you can do is conduct anonymous surveys. Maybe you have a 360-degree feedback from a performance review, or maybe you've taken psychometric tests. Or perhaps get a pen and paper and identify your strengths and list them down and remember them when you go into your sessions. The third point is understanding your mentee. So as important it is for you to know yourself as a mentor, it is crucial to know your mentee too. It's one of the founding stones for a successful mentoring relationship. Have a one-on-one with your mentee to know them. their goals, and understand what they want to achieve from the mentoring relationship. Don't let any type of stereotypes or biases cloud your judgment about your mentee. Often, mentors commit the mistake of doing most of the talking and driving a mentoring meeting. Instead, let your mentee speak. It will help you understand their point of view and perspectives. The fourth point is preparing a schedule. The next most important step, which you should do as a mentor, is to prepare a schedule. Plan how often you and your mentee will meet. It's a two-way street. It will allow both of you and the mentee to prepare before each mentoring meeting. The schedule can be monthly, quarterly, every 3 months, 4 months, however it may be, depending on the need. And the last point here is be true to yourself. It is important for you as a mentor to share your stories with your mentee. Being a mentor does not mean you have superpowers. You are as human as others. Tell them the good, the bad, the ugly of your life and how you learned from your mistakes. Discuss with them the obstacles you face and how you overcame them. Moreover, discuss some of the good choices you made and the accomplishments you had. Set mutual expectations and goals. For example, what your mentee wants to get out of the mentoring relationship with you. What are you prepared and not prepared to do for them? What you expect of them and vice versa. And how often you will meet and talk. I'll give you an example of setting SMART goals. So what are SMART goals? SMART goals were introduced by George Doran, Arthur Miller, and James Cunningham in 1981, and it has been in use ever since. SMART goals are goals that are created focusing on specific and realistic targets to hit, which increases the chances of success. So, they are specific. The goal should be clear and well-defined. A vague goal is a way to disaster. They should be measurable. A goal should always be measurable so that you and your mentee can track the progress. It's attainable. Your mentee's goal should not be too difficult to achieve, as it will only lead to disappointment. They are relevant. A goal should be relevant and linked to the overall organizational goal, for example, or individual goal. They are time-bound. Goals need to be achieved within a specific time frame. Set up a realistic time frame or timeline with your mentee to accomplish his or her goals. Also, define the strategy. Now that your mentee has SMART goals in place, it is time to define the actionable steps that will help them achieve that goal. Start by deciding your overall strategy. If your mentee's goal is to become an effective leader, your suggestion to your mentee can be improve active listening skills, or improve leadership and communication skills, or follow leaders on social media and observe their actions. Improve time management skills, for example. Once you and your mentee have agreed on the strategy, you can then plan for specific short-term goals, like practicing mindfulness, or taking a course on communication skills or leadership, or getting coaching on your communication. These small goals will make sure your mentee is growing continuously to achieve their bigger goals. Also, encourage your mentee to track their progress. So once your mentee has plans and strategies in place, make sure they track their day-to-day progress. When your mentee can see how close they are to achieving their goals, they will be extremely motivated to hit the target. Besides, when they track their progress, they can focus on things they need to put extra effort into. This will help them move in the right direction. Working without tracking makes it difficult for you and your mentee to understand whether their strategy is working or not. Working on goals while regularly tracking progress reduces the chances of failure. So goal setting is a critical part of a mentorship program. However, defining strategies to achieve those goals and tracking progress is equally important when you are setting mentorship goals for your mentee. It's about finding a system that works best for your mentee. Let's look at planning your one-on-ones. It's important to specify your preferred way of connecting. This can be by a phone, video, email, in person, etc., as well as when and how often you're available to meet with your mentee. Are you talking about a few meetings or a long-term mentoring relationship that could last months or even years? This is a chance to set clear boundaries. If you don't enforce your boundaries, mentoring can quickly become a time suck that leaves you feeling resentful instead of empowered. So let's look at before the introductory session. We talked about researching your mentee. First things first, read up on your mentee. Take a look at their profile if you're part of a program. Depending on how the mentoring program was run, familiarize yourself with their background, their skills, or even goals before your session. Take a look at their LinkedIn profile too to learn more about their past experience and note any things you have in common, which could be useful for your icebreaker. Brush up on your expertise. Take some time to remind yourself of your biggest strengths and achievements. We spoke about writing it down on a piece of paper, for example. You don't want to end up giving your autobiography, so prior to your introductory session, make sure that you've reflected on your experience and noted areas you believe you can work on with your mentee. Remember, this intro session is all about finding alignment and chemistry so you can embark on a mentoring journey together. So it's best to discuss expertise that is highly relevant to their goals or career desires. Double check the logistics. This may sound obvious, but make sure that you and your mentee know where and when you are meeting for your session, if it's in person, for example. Or if it's a video call, check in over email beforehand and test the video link in advance to avoid any technical delays. During the intro session, ask open questions. We spoke about that. Ask participants what these could be. Don't drive straight into the meaty stuff. Ease your way into the session by asking open and general questions about your mentee's background, their education, interests, and career to date. This is also a good time to chat about any mutual interests or hobbies you may have learned about. Questions like this will work well to kick off the discussion. So where did you grow up? How could you tell me about your career journey so far? When and why did you join the company you're currently at? Introduce yourself. So tell your mentee about yourself. Include an overview of your career journey, key achievements, passions and interests, and why you wanted to be a mentor. Try to link as much as possible to areas where their interest also lies. To find common ground and highlight how you can help them learn and grow. Stress confidentiality. It's good to remind your mentee that everything they say or discuss is entirely confidential and stays between you two. This is especially relevant for internal mentoring in organizations. Do your best to make your mentee feel at ease and comfortable to open up to you. Discuss their goals. Get an idea about what development areas or goals your mentee wants to achieve and in what time frame. Discuss ways you believe you can help them get there with as many actionable suggestions as possible. It's important to be honest at this stage if you don't feel you can help them or you don't think your expertise is relevant to a particular goal. Set mutual expectations. So discuss your working style and set your own boundaries. Be open with your mentee by explaining your limitations and how you want to work together. This includes how often you should meet, how long you want the sessions to be, and how you prefer to communicate. After the intro session, book the next session. We'd recommend comparing calendars at the end of your intro session. Then you can follow up with an email invite for the next session afterwards. If you agree to a regular meeting time that works for both of you, you can even make this calendar invite reoccurring. Share relevant materials. Remember to send over links to any relevant articles, events, books, or podcast recommendations you may have discussed in your intro session. This sets the precedent of good communication and following up, showing that you're dedicated to the relationship and their development. Get connected if you haven't done so already. Connect with your mentee on LinkedIn. The first mentoring session is all about finding chemistry. Getting to know their background, career, personality will help you understand their goals and challenges a lot better. You may not have too much time to start giving advice, but don't worry, that will come in preceding sessions. Don't rush it. The majority of the intro meeting will be about getting to know each other and seeing how you can work together going forward. Some tips for delivering virtual mentoring sessions: communicating expectations, planning and strategizing those sessions. Embrace digital technology. Remember, providing robust feedback. And lead by example. And most importantly, really ask your mentee if they have any specific needs that you can cater to. For example, using closed captions, or turning off camera if that feels more comfortable to them, or speaking a bit slower if they're hard of hearing. So just keep in mind, and always, in your intro session, a very good reminder to ask them if there are any particular needs. Ending mentoring relationships and saying goodbye. When the mentoring relationship needs to end due to external factors such as mentor or mentee moving away or changing jobs, it's fairly straightforward to end the professional mentorship. However, things can be murkier when it's due to internal factors, like a lack of compatibility. You're not the right person to offer advice anymore, or the goals have shifted. In those cases, sometimes the mentor or mentee simply start to fade away and become less and less available. They will avoid having a difficult conversation, either in an attempt to spare the feelings of the other person or their own. Whatever the reason for the split, it's important for both parties to talk transparently about the reasons for the dissolution of the mentoring relationship. Without these conversations, a mentor or mentee may be left wondering where they went wrong or even internalize the other person's behavior. For example, if a mentor stops communicating with the mentee may interpret the situation as a sign that they are not worthy of the time and attention required of a mentor, when in reality, the mentor may be retreating from the professional mentorship due to unrelated factors. So speak directly and candidly to your mentoring partner if you feel that you need to end the relationship. Although it can be awkward, it's better to acknowledge a lack of chemistry or other issues in the relationship rather than ghosting the other person. Finally, discuss what's next after the business mentoring relationship comes to an end. Sometimes mentoring relationships can morph into other types of relationships, such as personal friendship. If either the mentor or mentee would like to continue a relationship, they should make their wants known. Ending a professional mentorship properly should be a priority for both mentor and mentee. Both parties should speak transparently and directly about the relationship in order for the professional mentorship to be successful and to preserve a professional relationship moving forward. Debriefing the relationship together can help both parties gain closure, as well as memorialize some lessons learned. Were the goals outlined in the mentoring plan achieved? What contributed to the success of the professional mentorship? What obstacles did the mentor and mentee encounter? And what tactics were successful in overcoming them? If either the mentor or mentee could rewind and start the mentoring relationship over again, what would they do differently? So take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, what resonated with you today? What's one thing you learned as part of this training? And what will you do differently? Take a moment to jot that down or to think things through. Congratulations for completing the Mentorship Fundamentals training. If you're interested in deepening your mentoring skills, please watch the Advanced Mentorship Training, linked in the video description.